If you ask me what my definition of success is, I'm not going to tell you it's a dollar amount. For me,
Yeah.
it's having the freedom to do what I want, to be able
Exactly.
to spend time with my children, to go on a vacation, to have systems in place, to be able to have the freedom and the luxury to be able to do the things that I want in life. Success for other people might be I need to make an extra $1,000 this month, or I need to get a promotion. No matter what you really define success to be for you, I think before you can even define what success looks like, ultimately the most important thing is to get clear on your vision and your why. Why are you even
Mm,
doing this? I think the beautiful thing about our lives is the fact that we have the ability to change our beliefs and to change
mhm.
our mindset. So that in self is a blessing. But I guess the first question we need to internalize and ask is, have you ever actually thought about how much our mindset actually impacts our life? Because the answer is quite substantially. When we become engaged in, let's call it a fixed mindset, that's
Mhm.
where our limiting beliefs can hold us back. And it can discourage us from starting our business, pursuing a career, relationship development, hobbies we always wanted to pursue. So the key is to switching our mindset from that fixed to growth. So it just really comes down to stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing growth. Change, as we know, can be extremely intimidating for many people. This is because change represents the unknown. If you're a person that has a limited mindset, it's so hard for you to find a sense of adventure in these types of situations. Instead, it presents an opportunity for failure or for exposure to any of your discrepancies. And then ultimately, that fear, it drives you to avoid unfamiliar situations. We know living in fear is consuming, and each new situation that presents itself is a chance to be exposed as someone who may be inadequate. We don't want that. We don't want to put our feelings for the world to see. It's easier for you to decide that change is impossible. And therefore, there's no reason to put in the effort to change in the first place. And then that leaves no window for you to display your insufficiencies. Challenge this myth. I want you to think of a time when you tried to change something about yourself and you succeeded, because that shows that you're capable. And now think about a time where you attempted something and you did not succeed. What happened? Did your world crumble? No. So you have to change your view of things and how you handle situations. Sure, you failed in something. Okay, so how can you do it better next time? What can be improved? What lessons did you learn? So, this way, when you start to change the narrative of how you perceive different situations, you naturally start to shift your way of thinking, believing, and acting. That's where you start to shift your life into a better direction. How do I strengthen my mindset? How do I change my mindset? I think
Awesome.
it really comes down to building willpower and discipline. Everything in life feels difficult when you don't have a successful and sufficient amount of willpower and discipline. These two skills are the foundation for success in life and in your business. They help you make better decisions and they change your life for the better. And we all know that. We know it's good to be strong. It's good to have discipline and regimen and routines. But if willpower and discipline are so helpful, then let's ask ourselves, why is it that so many people struggle to implement them into their daily lives?
Yeah.
And this is something that my father told me that always resonated with me. It's that you have to realize that success doesn't come to those who sit on the sidelines. Willpower is like a muscle. So just like someone goes to the gym and they train to get more muscles, you
Yeah.
need to do the same thing with your willpower and discipline. If you want to
Mhm.
build mental strength, mental fortitude, you've got to make it a habit of flexing these skills on a daily basis. Boxer learns how to knock out by practicing their jab and going over it and repeating that process of throwing those punches. That's how they become a champion. A lot of people just like assume that development of willpower and discipline requires a lot of strain. So they just stray away from it. Anything that feels difficult creates this unnecessary anxiety, feeling of being nervous, pain. But you got
Mhm.
to realize the very things that you don't want to do are the very things that you absolutely must do. And when you improve yourself, I need you to understand it doesn't have to be a chore. It's really all a matter of your perspective. At its core, willpower and discipline are really all about self-control. The opposite of self-control is laziness. And I don't think anyone here has ever met a successful person that's lazy. People with high levels of self-control, they're consistent in their thoughts, their behaviors, their actions. When something gets tough, instead of throwing in the towel and giving up, they persevere. And as a result, they're more likely to achieve the goals that they set for themselves. How do I really strengthen my mindset? It's really about strengthening your willpower and discipline. Every single day, you've got to commit to doing something that's going to be uncomfortable, something that's going to challenge you to grow. Mastery of our mindset requires deliberate practice. Our mindset is something we should constantly develop. Whatever it is that you choose to do, it has to be something that requires practice, something where you're going to be able to get feedback telling you what areas you can improve on, how you can get better. And then you can get back in there and try again and try again. So if you want to be willing to succeed in life, you have to be willing to do hard things. So let's ask ourselves, what are we doing now in our life that is really hard? You don't grow by doing things that are comfortable. So you have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone and stretch your wings. So the more that you push yourself to do the things that suck to you right now, the stronger you become. The third mindset would be to create a culture of success. And this honestly is one of the hardest things to maintain because it all starts with your belief system. You need to have a solid belief system that says that success is possible and that you can create a culture of success. You have to be mindful of the words that you speak and the thoughts that you have. It's all about constantly reminding yourself of what you want and why you are doing this in the first place. You need to make sure you have a positive mindset and that you don't dwell on negative things that may be happening around you. The reason why it's so difficult is because it requires you to change your thinking habits from thinking about ourself to now thinking about others. You have to be willing to sacrifice some things in order to achieve your goals. You have to be willing to make mistakes and take risks and not always doing things that feel comfortable, making sure that you do the things that you know need to actually get done. It's about ensuring that you keep yourself motivated. You remember why it is that you're doing what it is that you're doing. And if you really want to build a culture of success, you need to constantly remind yourself of what success actually looks like to you. So making sure that you think about what it is you want to achieve and what it is that you need to do to actually get there. When we're online as an entrepreneur, we may be focusing our time on things that may not be helping us necessarily move forward. You focus more on the logo or a funnel for your business. Or are you actively engaging with people that comment on your post and looking to schedule calls and looking to actually progress and get new clients? So that's really important for priority. The second mindset to have in business is to really be honest with yourself about what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, because we have to learn as an entrepreneur to put our egos to the side. We all know that we can't do everything, but it's really hard to know what you're not good at. In business, it's essential for you to figure out what you are and what you aren't good at, what it is that you need help on, how you can get that help. It's also important to know when you need help, how to ask for it, how to put your pride to the side. We have to know when to put our ego to the side and when it's time to level up our skills so it can open up new opportunities for our growth and for our development. At the end of the day, you want to try to have like a growth mindset. You want to put yourself in a position where you can embrace success. If I had to like narrow it down to 3, for you to have in business, the first mindset I think would be knowing what's important in your business. When you think about what's important in business, that's where you start to identify what the most important things are that you have to do in order for your business to move the needle and become successful. If you think about those important things, then it will allow you to really figure out how to prioritize your time so you can actually focus on the things that matter the most. First, mindset was something that I wanted to learn because I wanted to sharpen up my skills as a salesman, to be able to pick up on things people are saying and be able to match and mirror, or to use mindset tips to help me perform better as a salesperson. Where I started to learn about NLP, which is a mindset technique. And when I started managing teams, and now I was in charge of teaching people not only how to do the sales, but how to deal with the mindset shifts of performing in a high pressure atmosphere. You're doing these calls and asking people to invest, and the ups and downs that a salesperson goes through. They get on a call, they ask someone to invest, they say no. It can put them into a spiral.
Mhm.
So I really invested a lot of time in becoming NLP certified and learning about different mindset techniques. So this way I could help people that were working in my team to overcome limiting beliefs that they have. Because it's like you go through those things, even if you're an online coach or marketer or something, and you have a sales call and the person says, I want to think about it, they don't want to sign up right away. A lot of times you may start to put yourself in this negative spiral. Was it something I said? Am I good enough? Is my product good enough? Maybe, I'm not worthy of asking for this price. It really allowed me to excel in my own sales career, but then I really started utilizing it when I was managing. I was in charge of making sure that obviously sales performance was high, but really the main thing was making sure that people are motivated every day, making sure that they don't go through those kind of negative spirals where they start doubting themselves.